Welcome to episode 10 of the Pajama Pals podcast. I am Count Vlad, and I am here with my friends.
Me,
My friends!
me, Fox,
Mr. Money.
Mr. Money, like the pawn shop.
I was trying to think of a spooky thing to say, but I didn't, so I just said Mr. Money.
So, my name is PC, and the C in my name stands for can't run.
Fox didn't even try to do something spooky.
Ooh, I'm Fox. Ooh.
This is a post recording that we're doing in post of the episode.
We have a real good one for you where we bring up tons of hypotheticals.
Yeah, it's all about hypotheticals and spookiness, and if you're easily spooked by anime in real life, then...
Or being alone in a forest with strange noises.
Or being alone in the forest with anime in real life.
Yeah, so... what would you call this kind of episode, Captain?
I don't know, it's a special feature. It's our 10th episode special unintentionally.
Yeah, we didn't really plan this, it just kind of happened, but we hope you enjoy it. We're just gonna kind of jump right into the action here, though. So, let's go.
Hey, how do you feel about the supernatural?
Oh no.
I don't think it's real.
All of it? Or only some of it?
Probably most of it.
So, you don't think aliens exist?
I mean, no, I think aliens exist, but I wouldn't call aliens supernatural. Like, I'm talking about, like, ghosts and...
Do we naturally see aliens in our environment? Like, can we go out into the woods and just find an alien?
Well, not yet. I don't know. Give it a couple decades. Maybe we will. Whereas I don't think in a couple decades people will be like, we have definitive proof that ghosts are real. I mean, maybe they will, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, what's the name of that movie that's, like...
The Fourth Kind?
No, not that. Fuck that movie.
I was thinking of that movie.
Oh, isn't that the one Adam's super afraid of, Fox? The Fourth Kind?
Yeah, he is
Afraid
of that movie.
Is it? Why is it scary?
It's like an alien movie. It's just very spooky.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like, I don't think I've ever seen it. I think it's like found footage, though, if I remember right.
Found footage does work for the spook factor.
I've always wanted to make a found footage movie.
That's what we should do. We should go... This is a horrible idea, but it's also a great idea. We should go out to your like family's house there by the forest and like film like a found footage video.
I've always wanted to do that.
Are you gonna be the production crew, Money?
No, Money would be the star. He'd be.
Yeah, man, I'm down.
We're just gonna like
it's
genuinely.
It's like it would start out as fun, and then something actually crazy would happen.
No, we're gonna make it to where you like think it's increasingly getting real, but the rest of us are in on it, and we're gonna slowly start disappearing around you to like fucking psych you out.
Oh.
So you start panicking.
And then when you ask one of us about the other, we'll just say who.
Money, you'd be out there in the woods, and we would need to find somebody who looks exactly like one of us. Or like at some point there's somebody, like we're walking and you turn around to talk to us and there's one extra person walking with us.
Dang.
That would throw him off so much.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What would we have to do to really like fuck with Money in that situation? Like,
or he's yelling out.
Now that you told me, I'm gonna be ready for it if it ever happens.
Money, you're not gonna be ready for anything.
In the moment, you're not gonna think about it like, oh fuck, they're just pranking me. Like you might think like sarcastically, like, oh they're fucking with me. But after 2 hours of nobody showing back up, you'd be like, guys.
But you see, then I have a incentive to do something even worse to fuck with you guys.
Do you?
The sun would start going down.
I don't know. Anything could happen out in the woods.
What would the plot of the what kind of monster would be there during the found footage movie
A
that we
shadow
would make?
man.
Would it be like a skinwalker or something? Because that's what I would want.
We like don't ever want to show it in full frame.
Oh
even,
yeah, of course.
Or anything.
Yeah.
Like we can show maybe part of it, like we can show like 30% of its body or something.
Well, the most I would do is like show something moving behind a tree in the background, like not even focused on in the shot. Like the camera's pointed at somebody and they're talking to the camera, and you see in the background something move behind a tree, like not even in focus.
I also wouldn't mind if there was a part where like somebody was running and they dropped the camera and like left it on the ground. But before like picking it up later, but while it was on the ground still recording, like something walks past it, but they're super close, so you only see like their like feet basically.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
So
you could also. Oh, go ahead,
no,
Fox.
No, go ahead. I gotta recollect my thoughts.
Well, you could also like use a variety of different media, like it's spliced together, like in an investigation or something that happened afterwards. So like you could use trail cams to get footage too.
Well, no, like we should do the thing where you we should basically film like when it's still light out while we're like setting up the like campsite or whatever, or like making a fire or like some shit, and everybody's like joking around and having a good time. And then we can like in like brief bits like cut forward to the future where we film at night when like shit is going down, and like go back and forth between the like happy beforehand and like the like horror of like later on. And then we can hide like clues in the earlier bit to like stuff that's gonna happen, like random stuff in like the far back of shots or something.
So
oh yeah.
So one of my stipulations for this is that we oh fuck, I've forgotten. Hold on, it'll come to me.
You need to what money? Yeah, go ahead.
So if we're gonna do this, we have to have a camera that is within a reasonable like. Oh, this is like a fucking like just beginner filmmaker just fucking around with a camera. Like we can't do it with like a high end camera.
Well, I mean, I have my camera.
I mean, we could do it with like. Actually, what we should do, just to be really fucking gauche, we should get like a like old school like camcorder and film on that.
Well, my brother has a direct to VHS camcorder.
Yeah, but the thing does not work.
We just need to get that and buy a bunch of film, and then like film it, and then like digitize it. Or we could stop being so try-hard and just use a modern camera and then put a filter on it afterwards.
I mean, I don't think you even need to put a filter on it. I mean, most films are shot nowadays with like modern.
Because like honestly, like I just got a new phone that has a really good camera. So like.
Yeah, you could. I mean, you could do a phone camera. I have a.
And we could even do like multiple phone cameras, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you could be shooting it from multiple perspectives and that kind of thing. I always thought I had a good idea that was like, it's like a found footage thing, but it's like somebody, at first it's somebody intentionally filming like a found footage thing, or it's like ghost hunters who are like doing something that's very obviously fake, and then at some point it becomes like actually real.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a good idea.
We have Money walk in like under a sheet pretending to be a ghost. He's like, "Woo!" and then he gets yanked back behind a tree and just disappears.
No, it's Money standing there with the sheet over his head, and then Money walks in the other door.
Yeah. and then it's gone, and the sheet's just on the floor or something.
Oh, that'd be great.
I just want to see like who can make the like craziest like monster sounds like behind a tree from like 20 feet back.
I could
Fox.
I could do the cleric beast
screech. I feel like I could do some pretty good sounds, but I feel like I wouldn't really know.
We need to. We would need to be like up there in the woods to get the proper acoustics.
And I would also want to spend some time like getting in touch with my inner like forest demon.
So can we? I have another stipulation. Can we also film it like we're the mountain monsters team?
I've always wanted to make something like that, or it's just a bunch of fat rednecks in the woods, like chasing after shadows,
Shooting shadows.
making Scooby-Doo traps. PC or Buddy, have you ever seen Mountain Monsters?
No.
Oh, you need to watch it. It's so fucking funny.
It's a bunch of like Appalachian hillbillies going out and hunting Bigfoot, and they have they're all like dressed up in camo and they got their guns and they're running around chasing after things, and they're like, there's one guy who's like their trap maker who makes like Scooby-Doo level traps. It's like a cage that drops down or something. And like it was like his accent is like basically indecipherable. He's like Boomhauer. And there's like this rival group that's like hunting them and hunting Bigfoot. And there's a portion where like some creature comes in and kills one of the cast members' pigs, and he goes chasing off into the woods like, "He got my pigs!"
It's personal now.
It's personal for Jim. He got his pigs.
Oh.
Those are my people.
So I'm like super into like the crypto shit right now because I had rewatched Survivor Man, and I forgot that one of the last episodes he did was with a dude who like was documenting Bigfoot, and this dude has quote unquote like recordings of Bigfoot. Oh, what's his name? It's hold on, I'll remember. It's
Bobo.
It's Todd Standing.
Death Stand.
Yeah. But it's like there's just a bunch of like images of just very like hidden figures behind trees that look like great apes.
Have any of you watched the documentary Grizzly Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a crazy one because like he like gets recorded like being eaten by a grizzly bear at the end. For anyone who doesn't know, this is like a film about about this not really classically trained bear, like researcher or guru, guru even, whose name I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he like spent a whole lot of time in like really close proximity to bears, like videotaping them mostly. But eventually he got too close to one, and it straight up killed him and his girlfriend at the time, and like ate them. And one of his films, basically, it doesn't record them getting eaten, but it records the audio of them getting eaten.
Yeah.
It's just like it's really fucking like horrifying.
What is this?
But it's also a really good documentary.
Grizzly Man.
So
Grizzly Man?
Timothy Treadwell.
Yeah. Yep. Timothy Treadwell. And it's dude, he was such a weird guy. Like he was just like he like didn't know what to like do with himself. And that was the other thing is like he had no classical like academic training on like research or biology or anything. He just like went to go do it.
Oh damn. So I'm reading some of the background. Does the Grizzly Man movie show his death? Yes, the lens cap was on, so their deaths were not recorded visually, but the audio of a man being torn apart by a bear as his girlfriend looks on in horror before her own death exists.
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube, and it's literally exactly what you would think it is. It's like someone like screaming as they're being eaten by a bear. Like it sounds exactly like what you would think that would sound like.
Oh God, I remember listening. Well, no, I don't think I ever listened to it. I don't know. Just thinking about it puts knots into my stomach.
Yeah, it's not something that you want to be involved with. Like, situations like that, like, I'm respectful of people that do it. Personally, I would never put myself in that situation unless I had, like, a firearm on hand at all times.
Yeah, like, that was the thing, is he was doing foolish stuff. Like, the bear that eventually killed him, it was, like, right before it was going to hibernate, I think. Or not right before. I think it was... Actually, it was right before, but basically the bear was, like, super hungry, and, like, in a bad mood, and he was, like, staying close to it for too long of a time. So he was doing something kind of foolish, and his other big thing was he would like never carry a firearm or any kind of like self defense, because he was like kind of a like hippie when it came to the bears.
Yeah.
He like really loved them.
In that situation, like, you have to have enough common sense and respect to stay super far. There's
Yeah.
no reason for you to be within like 300 feet of an animal that size.
Well, but like honestly, I think even if he did have a gun with him, I don't think he would have shot the bears. I think he would have let them kill him before he shot them.
No, probably, most definitely. Like, it's just in situations like that, you should never have to kill an animal because you're that close.
Yeah, I mean that's your own, because like that's the thing is like bears in the wild are not meant to live with like a human just chilling right next to them.
No.
Oh, so what happened is, yeah, I remember this. So Treadwell's video camera captured an audio record of the bear attack. Herzog, who was the director, refrained from making it a part of the film directly,
Yeah,
but he is shown listening to it clearly disturbed. I do remember reading somewhere. That's why I was unsure whether or not I had actually heard it. That it's basically lost media because nobody outside of the guy's family and like the police have ever heard it.
it's on YouTube though. I've listened to it. Like,
well, it's probably a fake because they intentionally made it so that nobody would ever listen to it.
well, maybe it's a fake. It's a very fucking convincing fake if it is a fake. I'm gonna have to look.
That just makes me so uncomfortable. Like, in that situation, I feel like I'd rather kill myself than be killed by the animal. Like, that shit would suck so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't feel like he would be unhappy with how he died like that. You know,
Well,
I mean, if he was going to be killed in any situation, I think he wouldn't mind having been killed by a grizzly bear. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, if he was so obsessed with them.
I just feel bad for his girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, clearly she had to have been in it too. Like,
Oh yeah.
he was
but-
clearly just as into the bears as he was to have been
Yeah.
out there with him.
Yeah, look in the today's stream channel. There you go.
I'm not listening to it, Money.
It's not that well. It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. I just listened to it.
Yeah, I'm not listening to that.
Yeah, no, I wish I hadn't.
Yeah, and like the thing is it sounds like his voice. Like, it doesn't sound like anyone else screaming. It sounds like the person who's in the rest of the documentary screaming.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I just remember hearing that it was lost media. So
Yeah,
maybe
one would think, because how would it possibly get released?
Yeah. Well, I know they have the recording of it, like his family.
But like someone would have to like
Released it,
specifically go against the family's wishes, which would be interesting.
I don't know. Situations like that always make me so uncomfortable because there's so many ways that you could have avoided that entire engagement.
Oh, yeah. It's entirely preventable, and I mean, frankly, I would go as far as to say it's really his own fault in that case.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely his own fault. Definitely not the animals, because the animal.
That's the thing. You can't blame the animal. Like, why did the animal eat the nice human? It's like, well, because it's a wild fucking animal.
Yeah, there's a reason why you don't
It's
approach
circle of
wild
life.
animals.
Yeah,
and like he's been told multiple times, like, you're being stupid. Like, this could end badly. And it's even worse because he got another innocent person killed, which.
Yeah.
And she should have had the mind to run, though.
Well,
what was she gonna do? Like, where was she gonna go? Like where they were, it was literally this really rocky like bit that was right next to a river with like these really really thick like spiky brush like all around it. Like, there wasn't really anywhere to go per
I
se.
guess that's true.
yeah, and a bear can run real fast. You're
Oh,
not
yeah.
to be able to outrun a bear.
And they'll climb up the tree to like wreck you.
But
So,
if
like,
it's killing the dude, I mean, I would think she's got enough time to get behind something to hide.
she probably ran where she could, but like,
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah. And you also like, when a person is panicking like that, they're not thinking rationally.
Yeah, that's true.
So your mind isn't making the best decisions in a scenario like that.
Well, because like another thing that I think he says it or you can hear it in the recording, at least the one we think maybe might be real, but you can like hear him say like get the pan or something like that, and you can hear her like hitting the bear with the pan or something.
Oh, yeah, and she was probably trying to save him.
No, I
know?
guess
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah, totally. Which I think was what most people would think to do maybe initially before they realize this is not going to work if you don't have a firearm.
Yeah, like if a grizzly bear is gonna kill you, it doesn't matter. Well, depending on like what caliber of
Well,
weapon,
I mean,
what caliber you're using,
like for like what I would want in that situation would be like a revolver with a big ass fucking round. Even if you had something like that, like I don't know if it would necessarily.
Oh no! If a grizzly bear wants to kill you before it dies, it's gonna kill you.
Yeah, and like if the grizzly bear was already on top of you, even if you shot it, like I think you're still probably toast.
Oh yeah.
In unless you like blow its brains out or something like that,
Yeah, if
which
you
I
like
think would be
hit it in
harder
the
to
head.
do than you would think.
Yeah.
Like I think getting a headshot on a grizzly bear is probably
Oh yeah.
That's why I want my
not an easy thing
Desert
to
Eagle
do.
with me.
Yeah.
That's why I want my Barrett.
What, like, part of me like wonders like if you had a big ass grizzly bear charging you and you had like a freaking AR and you just unloaded it into
5.56
it.
isn't gonna stop shit. It's
Well,
not gonna stop a grizzly bear.
I mean, I think the penetration is good enough.
I
Yeah,
guess
I
like
think.
the only thing I can think is if you like hit their brain. That's the only thing I
Like,
could think
so-
of, like something in their tracks.
You're just gonna make the bear
brain
retarded and
or-
even give it even more strength.
It's got the retard strength.
Grizzly attacking you.
Well, I mean, I feel like a 5.56, while it penetrates well, it like a grizzly bear is so massive that unless you get like a brain shot, a heart shot, or a lung shot, they're
Yeah,
gonna
that's what
fucking
you
still
have to hope
go.
for.
They're
And if you
still
got
gonna
a heart
go.
shot or a lung shot, I think you would still have to like deal with it for like 30 seconds. I think if you
No, the heart shot would be like the heart shot.
maybe
pretty
not 30
much-
seconds.
It's
but-
gonna
Yeah,
drop
you-
within the first like 5 seconds.
Yeah, you
but-
shoot any animal in the heart. That's what hunters aim for, the heart, not the head.
Yeah. But
Well, that's because they want to save the meat.
Well,
But-
yeah, but it also like almost instantly kills the
Yeah,
animal.
it's the most
But-
effective way to do it.
But I think if you also got a headshot right into its brain, I think that would probably immobilize it pretty immediately
definitely.
too.
But it's easier to aim for something center mass than aim at something that's moving a lot more than the spot.
Yeah, I mean it's also headed directly at you, so its head would be like right in front of you. So I feel like you could.
Yeah, I guess so. Because I mean, if you're aiming low and you still have a
wouldn't
chance
wanna-
to go into the heart.
Like I would want to take that chance of letting the grizzly bear get close enough. Like,
I mean,
but like honestly, like, I wouldn't want a desert eagle because I wouldn't want even the slightest chance of anything like jamming. Like,
Why don't you just have your fucking like Ma Deuce, your M2? You got it right there. You got your Humvee.
oh jeez.
You got your fucking like Hotchkiss 20mm.
Yeah, you have to use the like a minigun on it.
Yeah, you've got like a Civil War Gatling gun, and you're like,
All right, money. Hypothetical.
No.
You have demo range is 50 with slap rounds. You're being charged by a bear. Do you shoot?
No, probably not.
or do you take your chances and just play dead and let the bear like kick the shit out of you, and maybe you'll survive?
I don't know. I'd probably try and climb a tree and just like.
Grizzly bears are gonna come after you. They don't care. If they
I
want to
mean-
hurt you, money, they're gonna hurt you.
I think if I had if I tied a knife to like a long stick, or if I had a spear and I climbed up a tree, if I could poke it while it was below me, I think I'd be
I think
okay.
you're just gonna piss it off even more.
I probably would, but if I got it in the eye or something, I might be able to knock it off. And if I could knock it off, it would probably die.
No, not a chance. Bears fall out of trees all the time, and
Well,
they are
yeah,
fine.
yeah. I don't know, really.
I mean,
I think at the end of the day, I really wouldn't want to fight a grizzly bear or any bear for that matter.
You probably don't want to fight any wild animal.
no.
Yeah.
Like a wild rabbit could probably kill you.
I mean, I don't know about that, but I think a coyote, like, that would be a bad fight.
Coyotes would definitely kill you. One coyote
Have you
could
guys-
take on a person.
Have you guys
Coyotes are
seen
pretty
like?
small?
If you had a knife or something, I mean, it would be crazy. But
I mean, yeah, I unless you've ever been attacked by an animal, I think it's hard to say.
I mean,
It totally.
like, I think it would bite your arm, and if you had your other hand
So,
free with some.
I mean, it's a totally different experience than what you think it is, and it's way. I mean, like I said with the girlfriend of the guy, like when you're in that moment, you're panicking, you're trying to figure out what's going on, and unless you've trained for that response or you know what to do, you're gonna kind of be flailing. There's plenty of videos of guys just being attacked by like raccoons and squirrels and like birds, where it's like this is a tiny thing, you could hit it once and probably kill it, but it's attacking you with such ferocity that you're like, okay, I don't know what to do.
Why you have to like scream and like yell back at it.
Well,
like,
so the thing that you're probably not thinking about, Money, is like domestic animals are a very different animal. Like wild animals will not go for limbs first; they're gonna try and go for your neck.
well, yes, but that might be harder for them unless they.
I mean, it will be harder, but like if they're going to come after you, they're most likely gonna be hitting you with such force you're gonna go down pretty quick.
Possibly, yeah.
Because
Probably.
I mean, you've seen what attack dogs are capable of. And if a coyote wants to hurt you, it's going to hurt you. It does not matter how big it is, unless it's like Chihuahua sized. You can punt that shit anyways.
Yeah.
But like, you could kick a coyote and it might run away. But if you piss it off even more, it's just going to be more aggressive.
Yeah,
and it has it'll have the adrenaline going the same as you do, so it's not going to feel the pain in the moment.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I mean it would depend on what you had. Like if you were just going up against a coyote barehanded, like that, yeah, I don't know what you could do apart from maybe like blind it, but that probably wouldn't kill it. That would just piss it off.
This is a really morbid episode.
I mean,
we're just like, how do you fight off wild animals?
I'm just saying, like people think, fuck a mountain lion. I could fight a mountain lion.
Oh, bullshit! No.
Like,
no.
Like, I could fight a coyote. No.
Yeah.
I would feel better about the coyote, but still probably no.
Have you guys seen the there's like pictures of deer where like they'll get their like bucks will get their antlers stuck in like trees or fences and are basically defenseless, and coyotes will come and like strip the rest of their body except for the head, and it'll just be like the head hanging from a tree because it was stuck there.
It's
oh my god. Mother Nature is fucking metal.
Like I'm just saying, man, like people give themselves way too much credit. Like
the only thing that people are good at is inventing fucking boomsticks.
Yeah, that's like
the only leg up we ever had.
Yeah, like but considering that we do have it, we immediately rise to the very top.
Oh yeah. I mean,
peak is gonna beat everything.
Like I still think like if by chance that you do not have any form of weapon on you, you're fucked.
Well, like, you want something.
Coyotes will break bone. I can guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, you can scream and wave your arms and hope they run away.
Yo, Fox, Captain, and PC, we should hike part of the Appalachian Trail. We should go for a week hiking deal.
Oh, I've always wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail.
And we can all pack backpacks of shit, and we can build campfires and tell ghost stories, and we can blog the whole thing. It'd be great.
Yeah, I would love to do that, Money.
Because I've only been hiking a couple times, and it's a lot of fun. But I would love to go on a long-term hike where you have to carry a big backpack with all your shit and everything.
You'd have to get prepared for that, though.
Oh yeah, no, it would take a long time because you would want to buy all the stuff you needed to make sure you
also
and you need to be conditioned too. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta condition yourself.
You would want to make sure you were ready to do some long-term walking.
If we're doing that, I'm taking a firearm. I hope you know that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't maybe take one myself, but I would want at least somebody in the group to have something.
Money, I would bring a gun for you.
Yeah,
word. Yeah, well, that would frankly be probably the safest thing to do.
Because you'd go off to I wouldn't even be afraid of animals. I'd be afraid of like you going off to take a pee and like a hobo would come and like.
Dude, and there's some crazy shit which just happened on the Appalachian Trail. Like there was this one thing where like there was this tent that was just pitched and it didn't move, and everybody was like, "What is that?" And then eventually, like people realized there was something dead in it, and they opened it and they like opened it up. This was in like I want to say the late '80s, and there were like 2 ladies just like straight up chopped into pieces inside of the tent.
Oh yeah, I've never been in the. I've never all the times I've been camping or hiking. I've never been in the woods and been afraid of what an animal would do to me. I've been afraid of what another person would do to me.
Some other crazy motherfucker might do.
I just want you to know, Money, like, if you go to the restroom, take somebody with you to stand guard, like...
Oh yeah, I think the buddy system would always be ideal. Like not even just like from like actual crazy stuff, but even just from like tripping and falling or
yeah, because that happens all the time too. And
and like something minor could turn into something real bad, like depending on the circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all that it takes is one good tumble, and you're basically immobile. And
then the problem is if you get hurt worse, you can't really get to where you need to be.
Yeah, like always take a digital GPS with you, one of the handheld ones. Those are awesome.
Oh yeah, no, like if we were to do it, like we would take all of the super nice modern stuff to like make sure
satellite phone.
Yeah, satellite
yes,
phone.
like extra batteries, plenty of kerosene or stuff like modern tents and sleeping bags, Like we would be all set, but it would be just cool to be like isolated from the world for like 1 or 2 weeks, just like hiking the trail.
If I gotta find a hobo though, Money, like I expect you to be my battle brother.
If there were like 3 or 4 of us, I think we could take someone. Unless the other people had guns too, and then it would just be a Walking Dead standoff, and I don't know what would happen then.
Like, then it would be Tarkov. It'd be Woods.
I'm gonna
it's the fucking real one.
Just fold up my AK and carry it.
I mean, I don't know if you'd want to bring a whole ass rifle. I mean, maybe one whole ass rifle, perhaps.
I mean, the nice thing about the AK is that I can fold it up in like my big like travel bag. It'll fit perfectly inside of it, and it doesn't take up that much space.
Bring a Mac-10.
A Mac-10.
Bring my Tech 9.
I mean, like honestly, like I feel like I would. Well, I mean, ideally, I guess you would want a rifle. But I feel like just like a pistol would probably be like anything would be better than nothing.
Oh yeah. Most definitely. Like, I mean, it depends on how far you want to go into it. Like, are you wanting to source your own food? Are you wanting to like, live strictly off the land? All sorts of shit.
No, I don't. I think we would probably bring just about everything we were going to eat. Unless somebody wanted to be really adventurous.
And the Appalachian Trail runs through like tourist spots too, so there are places where you can stock up again.
And like honestly, I would I think it would be cool to bring like a bunch of MREs, because that's like really good, calories per space in terms of like carrying stuff.
Yeah, they're lightweight and they're pretty. They can be tasty. The newer ones, anyways.
Well, I'm sure some of them are quite tasty, and some of them are real fancy. There's like special like chemical stuff where you mix it and it like heats up your meal for you. But like, no, like I don't know. I think it would just be cool, like being in the middle of the forest and like building a campfire and like fucking with each other like in the middle of the night.
Money, you'd see some whack shit. Like out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, probably. No, like we would like probably be like walking along and like somebody would go out to go take a whiz, and we would just find this like perfect like circular clearing with like a burn mark all the way around the edge. And we would be like, this is weird, and like we would all joke about like who was going to step past the burn mark like into the clearing. But we would all pussy out, and none of us would actually cross it. And then we would just like leave it and never talk about ever seeing that ever.
You see like a a pile of stones in the shape of a grave, but there's like some really cool rocks. You think you might like see some axe heads in there, like flint axe heads. Do you take one? Do you take something from the grave?
Oh no.
Well, that's also
No.
illegal.
No. The real one would be going out into the middle of the forest and then finding a like well preserved, Victorian style staircase. Just the staircase in the middle of the woods.
That's
I love
oddly
those.
specific.
I love those. That's such a
Yeah.
great. That's such a great like in a woods type story. Is there's so many of those where it's like we find stairs in the middle of nowhere that lead to nowhere. On the
No,
stairs,
like,
somebody in the woods go missing.
So like my family has a cabin in upstate New York, and we've like gone out into the forest, and we literally found this old ass like 1950s car, just like insanely deep into the forest, like to the point where it doesn't make sense because like there's so many old trees everywhere around. There's no possible way that you could drive this car to where it's at. But it's still there, and it's like all like old and like rusted out and like sunken into the ground. And it's just like, how in the fuck did this get here?
That reminds me of my brother when he lived in Virginia. He lived in these apartments that backed like directly onto the woods, and he would just go hiking out there because he was a mad lad. I don't know why he would just do it alone.
Yeah, doing it by yourself is I don't think I'm that brave.
And I don't think he even owned a gun. Like he just went out there. And
with the fucking pocket knife.
considering, I mean, he looked like he was the fucking Unabomber or something, so I think people were more afraid to approach him than like.
Fair enough.
He wore all black and he had like a trench coat and he had combat boots with like his pants tucked into him. Yeah, he got stopped on his way home from the store so many times because he was the only person in Virginia that walked places apparently.
And of course he's wearing a trench coat and he's got like paper bags.
But when he was out in those woods, he would tell me about like he'd see old refrigerators like that. I mean, you would have had to have like dragged it all the way out into the woods,
just like in
or like old cars and
that don't make any damn sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes perfect sense. That's just illegal dumping.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's the rational explanations, but
yeah. But like sometimes it's just so far out and out of the way. It's like, how would anyone move something this heavy? Like,
it was a mob hit.
Well, don't forget about that that crackhead that would that he picked up an entire fridge, put it on his shoulder, and rode away on a bicycle. Don't forget about that dude.
Yeah.
What would you do if we were hiking super deep in like the Appalachian wilderness, and we found this giant safe? And like it was locked, so we couldn't open it, but we could like push it slightly, and we heard like sloshing inside of it.
Oh,
like it was filled with some sort of liquid.
I mean, is it like a gun safe? Like what kind of safe is it? Like
it's like a big safe. It's like a big, tall, gun safe.
That narrows it down,
like several 100 pounds. That makes no sense being where it would be at.
Well, is it? Yeah, it's filled with some kind of liquid. I would assume just from it being out there that water's gotten into it.
Okay. What if that was your first thought, but then you looked down at the bottom and there was a stain of a troubling color, all sort of, below it?
It's metal. It's rusting.
Okay, fair enough.
Yo.
And
then I would walk away and not think about it.
and then right before we were going to leave, somebody would go take a whiz, and the safe would then be like open with the door hanging open.
No, I'm
okay,
pulling out the
I would panic then. Yeah, I'd be gone.
Honestly, at that point, what do you think we would actually do as a group? If
we would
all like four of us were like, we all saw this safe closed, and we tried to open it, and we joked about it, and then we went back and we slept, and we all woke up, and now this safe is very much open, and there's this like sticky, gooey stuff all on the inside of the safe.
I'm sure in that moment we would like just have adrenaline pumping through our system. We've got somebody watching. We've got each person watching a direction as we move out of the area. Very calmly, very collectively. Firearms.
All of PC's woods training kicks in, and he's like, "All right, I'm ratting out of this bitch."
No, that would be Miss B. Miss B would rat the fuck out. I'd go to the highest point I can and try to snipe whatever's out there.
what I would think would happen is somebody would see it first, and they would freak out themselves, like privately, like seeing it, and they would run back and tell people, and there would be that brief moment where you would have one person seriously freaking out, and everybody else being like, "Why are you freaking out? Like, calm down. Like, what the fuck?"
In that situation, like,
and then you would show them, and then there would be that moment where everybody is like, "Okay, this is unexplainable and
this
incredibly
is fucked up.
troubling."
This is
And then we
horrible.
would probably like pack up super quick while watching just about every direction and just
Yeah.
try and like get out of that area.
Like,
And like the funny thing is, there wouldn't even really be very much to talk about because there's not even technically any immediate danger. There's just the implication that there could be.
Yeah. Like,
Which
I
is
feel
almost
like
more scary because it's like, is there a zombie monster? Like, what's going on?
I
Like,
feel like in that situation, I'd have like 2 of us post up while the others are packing.
Yeah.
We'll get all packed up, and while somebody's loading up gear, they're
And-
like, we've got somebody watching, and then we
and then,
trade
like,
off.
And then, like, as we're like packing up, we just hear this insane, inhuman scream, like probably like 200 meters off or something.
Well, I'd probably panic in the moment, but I would think back on it and think it's like a cougar or something because that
Yeah.
cougars make fucking scary noises.
Like, in that situation, like, you don't want to leave anything behind that will aid you in survival if you end up in a situation.
Oh yeah, no, I think we would probably pack, like, unless we were immediately attacked by something, I think we would just pack everything up very hastily and fucking move.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, have 2 people post up while people are packing, have 2 people load up while people are watching, switch off, and then once you're fully loaded up, you've got somebody watching rear, you've got somebody watching left, you got somebody watching right, you got somebody going forward.
Imagine how fucked it would be if like that happened and like we like got out, but we heard a bunch of scary noises, and we finally get to the next point, and we all like set up and camp down, and we're all freaking out because we're really on edge. But like nothing happens. It's just totally normal, and it was like a one-off thing that none of us can like.
I'm still on edge. Like I'm still like
honestly,
we're
I think
taking watches.
Honestly, I think that night we would probably have a conversation being like, we should just find the nearest point of civilization and go home.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm done right now. Like, I don't want to die. Like,
and then you'd leave. You'd get out of the woods, and you'd look at the news when you got home, and they would be like, a group of 5 hikers disappeared on that section of trail the next day, or something like that.
No. What would happen is we would all like agree that like, okay, we need to get out, and we would map like to the nearest town, and we would go to sleep, and then we would wake up, and we would go to this nearest town, which would be like a moderately sized little like outpost. Not a ton of people, but
episode.
But a pretty this is exactly what it is. And we get to that town, and there's no one there. But there's a lot of blood and like broken windows and stuff, and it looks like the town was like attacked by something, and like everybody's gone. But now we're the only people in this town, and it's like night is falling, and we're just in this town.
Buddy, at this point, I'm just like, okay, shit's hit the fan. Like it's the end of days. I'm looting everything.
Yeah, like I feel like at that point
we would start looting everything because we would be like, what's going on? Like
I feel like in that moment, you never go without a buddy. You are armed at all times, and then if it is late, you find a building that is very high up, and we all share one room, and we have somebody on watch at all times before we are ready to leave the next morning.
Yeah, but where would you go? I mean, like, you'd have to figure out where the next town is or something. I mean, you could commandeer a car, I suppose, but
you would honestly, like, you would maybe want to.
If the phone lines are still working, you could call somebody.
No,
I mean,
what if like all of the communication was down? Like we like got there and like our like phones still didn't work and everything. There was no cable signal or anything.
In that situation, I'm assured that like it's over. Like that's it. Like okay.
We're all just like we like chill there in the town for like 2-3 days, and then all of a sudden we see like 30-40 jets like shoot overhead, going somewhere super fast.
then a bright flash in the distance. So I go.
Oh no! We just see a whole bunch of jets fly over us,
Like fighter jets.
Yeah, but we see 30 or 40 of them, like a amount which doesn't make any sense.
An unreasonable amount.
Yeah.
And they all have the Umbrella Corps logo on them.
Yeah.
We realize that we're in the Resident Evil 9. We meet somebody named Ethan, and we're like, okay, we're going to die now. Like,
we have to make a video game. That's what we have to. That's what we have to do.
Man, this makes me so uncomfortable. So
we should still totally hike the Appalachian Trail. Like, don't let any of this.
No, I mean, I'm still willing. I'd still do it. Yeah.
I'm the most paranoid motherfucker when I am outside, especially at night. I don't trust shit at night.
Yeah, Fox is a different man in the woods.
I'm a lot more on edge. I'm constantly looking around.
Captain, what if it was the middle of the night and you wake up and you look and you can see really far in the distance this faint pink light and you hear frickin' someone blasting Caramel Dancing?
Oh hell yeah, we're going there.
We are totally alone and there should be no one around us.
I'm simultaneously hyped and that's the deepest existential dread I can possibly imagine because it's targeting me specifically.
You wake all of us up and because you're really freaking out because the music is loud enough that you can't sleep and all of us are we don't hear anything. What are you talking about? And you
oh, I would be so scared. That would fuck me. I would be done.
Go to bed. And all of us just would go away.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, if anybody start to show signs of schizophrenia or anything like that on a trip, we're calling it off.
Yeah, we're leaving right then and there. Well, Fox, I have some sad news for you. I was just diagnosed.
Oh. And then the light gets closer and the music gets louder, Captain.
And then I see exactly those 3D model anime girls
in the sky
doing the dance. I would be so afraid. Holy shit.
We're all just sitting around the fire and you're just looking up oh my god, there's no way this is real.
That's some real analog horror shit. Oh my god.
You lie in your sleeping bag and you feel Miku's cold metal hand slip into your stomach.
Oh god. Oh. Bunny, you're I'm trying to think. That's so terrifying. I'm gonna have a dream about that. I don't know why that's so scary.
Oh man, I want to get Kat's perspective on this. We're gonna.
I know. I wish
again.
Kat was here. I love talking about this kind of shit with Kat because he loves it.
Oh, we should brain a found footage horror movie, and then we should film it while we're hiking the Appalachian Trail.
Man.
So that would be cool.
Something going wrong?
No, I know this is kind of hypothetical, but I am entirely down for this. I would love this.
Totally down for this. Hell yeah. We should do this summer. Maybe. I don't know. We could see. It's a hypothetical.
We're gonna revisit this topic whether PC wants us to or not. I'm not sure how he feels right now. He hasn't really said anything in a while.
The COVID shot is still killing him. He's hearing Caramel Dancing right now.
I'm fucking brain dead right now. I don't know what you mean.
He's this conversation is fucking stupid.
Yeah, we're actually rolling on. We're at 1 hour and 36, so we'll probably wrap it up here soon.
Yeah, before we wrap up, I want to give my 2 cents on the whole scenario.
Oh boy.
Okay.
I have thought about this on my own, in my spare time, for quite a while.
The Caramel Dancing thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
So go ahead.
So, if I was, just somewhere in the middle of fucking nowhere and then the end of the world happened, first of all, I'd want to go fucking, get a weapon or multiple. Secondly, transportation. Thirdly, food. And then I'd make sure my dog's okay.
Good man.
Yeah, me too.
Good man.
Yeah, I'd be worried about my family, and presumably I'd be doing this hike without my dog because that'd be a hassle. So I would be worried about my dog.
I feel like the scariest thing is if you were in some place like really remote and like a disaster happened, but it wasn't a kind of a disaster which you could like pinpoint or explain. Like you knew something bad enough happened that like society is ceasing to function, but there's like enough odd things where like you're like, well, it's not like a nuclear war, like it's not a disease.
Yeah,
but, like,
it's not like.
But like there's these really odd things like every single night, like where I know like the largest amount of like the next big city over, there's like a really weird light that always comes from that direction every night. And
Yeah.
like things which aren't even necessarily threatening, but it's like I don't know what's happening, but I'm scared and I'm just gonna stay here in the forest. And it's like I know something really, really, really bad must have happened, but I really have no clue what it is. Like, it almost makes it scary.
You hear like deep echoing booms in the distance throughout the day and night, and it ceases to like it just stops suddenly.
Here, wait a second. I gotta find.
Creepypasta. Or...
There's a genre of like horror. I mentioned analog horror earlier. There's a genre of horror where it's like you're really removed. You're watching television late at night and like an emergency alert thing comes on and it's like, don't look at the moon. You can't look at the moon. Don't look out the window. Don't look at the moon. And it's like, okay, what the fuck do I do? Because I have no frame of reference for what the hell is going on. And you just like hear screams outside getting louder. And you're like, I cannot look outside. But there's also stuff on the TV telling me to look at the moon.
Oh.
Look at the moon.
Look at the moon.
Or just like, because like that's what I think. Like because like you guys have heard of the uncanny valley like effect.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. So like for anyone who doesn't know, the uncanny valley is like a thing where it's like on a spectrum, on a spectrum of resembling a realistic human. You can have like something which is really, really detached from that, like a cartoon or like a smiley face, which is obviously it's like trying to look like a human, but in a really abstract way, and it's not threatening, it's not scary. But as you get closer to looking like a human on a graph, where if you had I forget what the axes are, it's basically like uneasiness and human likeness. But on that graph, as you get more and more human, there's this period or point of the graph where there's a big dip in it, which looks like a valley, which is basically where you look kind of human, but not quite human. And it's really, really creepy. And that's why like even a mask, which like is just like two eyes and like a mouth, if there's nothing else on it, where it's really ambiguous, we view that as like creepy. And the reason we view it as creepy is because we don't know how to discern what it is. There's a difference between something which we know is immediately scary because it's like, this is a threat and it's going to hurt me. Like, that's why I should be scared of it. But then something like a mask is like, well, I don't know if it's a threat. It might be a threat, but I don't know. And that's like a whole separate, like kind of like unease. And I think some of the best horror is the stuff where like, it doesn't tell you exactly what's going wrong, but you know something is really going wrong, and you kind of have to like figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a hypothetical.
Oh.
All right, so you come back from a camping trip. Your house specifically, and every single one of your family members' houses are completely gone. You have no family members that you can contact. They won't pick up. They are just simply erased. You are
Like
there alone.
Like they never existed? Like if I asked somebody who
like,
would have known them, or
like they were clearly there. Like, so a house is just ripped from its foundations, but you cannot contact your family at all. Like, you try like Facebook Messenger, you know, like you call them, you text them, no response from anyone in your family. Like cousins, uncles, aunts, no
Okay.
contact at all. But they
like,
did exist.
Yeah, so they did exist. Am I the only one that's aware of this, or are there like other people my neighbor would definitely notice. Like,
Yeah,
is my neighbor
yeah.
aware of it too?
Yeah, so
okay.
everyone's aware of it, but they
Oh, okay,
aren't
I thought
willing
you
to
guys
give you any answers, and they don't want to associate with you.
Oh, so like they're in on it somehow,
Yeah,
or they seem like they are.
like they're afraid to be around you.
Huh. I don't know. I mean, like that totally removes you from like any group of support unless you have like friends who you think you could contact. and
I
who
was
would-
like, I was like going to say, what if that same thing happened, but you like came home from a trip or something, and like, and all of your family is the house that was your house, like totally different people are like living in it, and they claim that they've lived in it for like years, and your like cell phone like loses service and it like doesn't work, and you have like no one to like contact. Like everyone thinks you're just totally crazy.
Oh God,
Like totally isolated from any sort of social system.
I mean, I don't even know what we would do in a situation like that. That's the plot of a Twilight Zone episode, basically. There's there's like this experimental like mission into space that happens, and 3 guys come back, and like they're talking about it, and then they look at the paper the next day, and they realize that it's only 2 people on the paper, and that nobody remembers the other guy who was with them, and then it was only 1 guy in the paper the next day, and then it was nobody, and the mission never happened, and nobody even remembers it.
Oh, it's trippy.
Like, how like uncomfortable would you be in that situation, though? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
knowing that there's something
Well-
going on with your line specifically, but they won't tell you because they're afraid of you.
Well, like a really like classical way of like eliciting like specific kinds of fear is like imagine your parents, like imagine encountering your parents as like a group or parent on the street as like a stranger, and imagine them conversing with you as if they had no idea who you were, like you were a total stranger.
yeah.
Like imagine if you met them and were like, yo, mom, dad, why are you here? And they're like, who are you? Why are you calling us that? And like imagine like the dynamics of that like interaction and how like unsettling that would be to have someone who should theoretically be one of the closest people towards you like acting like a complete stranger out of the blue. It's spooky scary.
Oh,
Yeah, that's-
man.
Good. Yeah.
Like I said,
Ooh.
we'll elaborate on this further with Kat.
Yeah, we should have like
We definitely
Halloween.
have to
I'm
make
gonna have to like make a spook warning. Like anybody with like severe like
severe.
like anybody that's super paranoid, be aware.
Anyone with severe spook triggers, watch out.
I can't watch that episode then. I go.
Yeah, like the situation, these hypotheticals make you so uncomfortable, and like if you dwell on them, it gets worse.
That's the best
Yeah.
part.
I'm gonna be thinking of that caramel dancing thing all night.
It's like the what movie? Signs. Like that movie does such a good job at making you fucking paranoid.
Ooh.
I love that movie so much, but God, it makes me so uncomfortably upset.
Ooh. Captain, can I expand on the caramel dancing one?
Go ahead.
Okay, so you like wake everybody else up, and like none of us, can hear it, and we all think you're just fucking with us, and we all go back to sleep, but you're obviously still really freaked out, and you're like poking us and being like, no guys, really wake up, but we're all like unnaturally like shrugging you off, like we're not talking to you, and we're just like sleeping through what we should unreasonably wake up and be like, what the fuck's going on? So you're isolated in that sense, and you hear both the music and the light. The light is getting closer, the music is getting louder, and you're simultaneously starting to feel like a little bit cold and weak. Like you can still move.
It's like sapping the energy from me.
And like
a vampire.
and the realization is setting in that like you either need to run now because you're not going to be able to run later, or like, do you just like close your eyes and wait for it all to pass and hope it's fine? And like that whole moment just gets longer and longer and longer as it gets closer and closer, and it's like extended into like an infinite, like horrific purgatory.
You try to plug your ears, but the song is playing inside of your head now.
No. You decide to plug your ears, but as you try and lift your hands up to plug your ears, you start moving slower and slower and slower to the point where you can't even do it, even though you really, really want to plug your ears.
No.
It's just like the like action of like moving your arms is too tiring to do.
So essentially, it's like when you fall asleep on your arm and you can't move it. That kind of feeling.
It's like that. A better way of just describing it, which I think I've told you before, Captain, is like where you're in a dream and you're either like fighting something off or you're trying to run away from something, but you're like unreasonably weak. Like your like legs don't work. You like can't throw a punch at all. Like you like feel like you like just got your wisdom teeth out or something. You're like way weaker than you should be. It's like feeling like that, but more and more. And like slowly realizing like I need to leave here soon, but you like can't leave, and that moment just gets longer and longer and longer.
I mean, I don't even know what I'd do. I mean, I would just be like horribly terrified. I'd be petrified. I don't think. I mean, I was gonna say about that situation where I think. And you already addressed that with like the second stage of your hypothetical, Money, because you're some kind of mad genius. But because I was gonna say, like, I think if I was panicking enough about something, that you guys would
wake up. Yeah, but it's the like unreasonable like ignoring of like your own panic.
Yeah, like I cease to exist at some point to you.
Well, no, it's like kind of ceasing to exist, like ceasing to exist, but it's also just like. We're just like totally like shrugging you off, being like, "Oh, shut up, go to bed." Like, you know, really like, and it's like this doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you acting like this?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what I would do. Like, very clearly, I think if I ran away, it's very clearly supernatural and beyond my understanding. So I think if I ran away, if it wanted to get me, it would still get me. And running away into the woods at night would only like make my situation worse.
So what if eventually it gets close enough that you do start to like run away and you have like barely enough strength, and you make it like 20 feet away from the like campsite, and then you fall, and you're like laying in like the cold, damp pine needles as it slowly gets louder and closer. And you barely have the strength to like turn around as you're on the ground on your belly to like look at what's like approaching you. And eventually you're barely able to see it. And then immediately you're like back laying down like at the main campsite. There's no noise anymore. It's like everything has totally reset. Like nothing ever happened. And you're just laying there like in the like coldness and stillness of the night.
Now that you've said that, Money, that's going to happen. Like, I mean, I would assume at that point that was just like a horribly vivid nightmare, unless I had something to prove that it was tangible and that it existed. Like, I would ask you guys if I woke you up at any point during the night, and if you guys said that I did, like,
no. What if we all like said like, oh no, you like didn't wake us up, but like the next morning while we were like having breakfast and we were like shooting the shit and just making food. We were all laughing about jokes about like caramel dancing, and we were just really stuck on like making jokes and like lolling about it. But you were secretly like horrified, being like,
you look over at me and the blood is completely drained from my face, and I'm just like,
we are getting close to 2 hours here. We should actually get started on wrapping up. So. I'm just gonna say that this is the ending of Spookisode.
Hopefully you liked my crazy hypotheticals.
Yeah, I mean, it might not seem spooky to you, but I'm a very paranoid man, and I hope you enjoyed. I once again would like to thank Captain, Money, and PC for being here. Unfortunately, Cat's not here, but hopefully we'll have a second Spookisode.
All those other guys, you missed
Yeah,
out.
as soon as Cat's back, we'll shoot more paranormal shit.
Oh,
And
'Cause
yeah, I'm excited to have Cat back. Miss B can, stay old. But
I don't think
Dan,
you have a choice.
yeah, Dan never showed up to the Spookisode. What up?
they will be here in the future. That's what's important.
Yep. Eventually we'll have him back. But
But till next time, I'm Money.
I'm Captain.
I'm Fox.
And NPC.
All right. Have a good evening, folks.
See ya.